So yesterday, 3 Americans were killed in Syria by an Islamic State fighter that had seemingly infiltrated the Syrian military. Now, according to the Pentagon, the investigation here is still ongoing, but the U.S. has vowed retaliation, with Secretary Hegseth saying, quote, "If you target Americans anywhere in the world, you will spend the rest of your brief, anxious life knowing the United States will hunt you, find you, and ruthlessly kill you." Now, again, the official U.S. investigation is still underway, so most of what we have today is coming from the Syrian government. Their statement is that on Saturday, December 13th, during a meeting between the Security Command and the Global Coalition forces to discuss combating Islamic State, a person affiliated with the Islamic State terrorist organization infiltrated the meeting location and opened fire on the joint Syrian-American forces, resulting in the killing of 2 soldiers and a translator and the injury of 2 others. Now, a couple quick notes. My understanding is the rough estimate of U.S. forces, boots on ground in Syria right now, is between 900 and 1,000. President Trump mentioned earlier that 2 of those, he said 3 wounded. 2 of the 3 appear to be okay. 1 is still being treated. I don't believe the names of the fallen have yet been released. I've not come across those, so it is still pending the notification of next of kin back here in the United States. The only thing I've seen was a suggestion that these were members of the Iowa National Guard, but that's as specific as I've come across at this point. Both CBS and the Associated Press in their reporting cite the Syrian Interior Ministry spokesperson saying that Syrian authorities had decided to fire this individual from the security forces before the attack for holding extremist ideas, but they had planned to carry out that firing on Sunday. A Syrian security official added that 11 members of the General Security Forces have already been arrested and brought in for questioning after the attack, and we have additional information from the Syrian Interior Ministry talking about follow-on operations trying to round up other members of this cell, which I think the term gets overused. Maybe that's the right way to phrase it here. Others that may have been aware or involved in kind of pressuring this individual to carry out the attack. The Associated Press, again, talking to the Interior Ministry spokesperson in Syria, they said the security forces leadership had recently become suspicious that there was an infiltrator leaking information to Islamic State and began evaluating all members in the area. The probe raised suspicions last week about the man who later carried out the attack, but the officials decided to continue monitoring him for a few days to determine if he was an active member of Islamic State and to identify the network he was communicating with. Now, as mentioned, we've not yet seen a U.S. response. We'll talk about what that could be here in a moment. Syria seems to have pretty quickly gotten on this and started to round up anybody they think may have been involved. So just a few hours ago, the Syrian Ministry of Interior published a few pictures from recent operations where they say, quote, "Our units carried out a distinctive and decisive security operation in the city of Palmyra." That is the area where the shooting took place yesterday, following the cowardly terrorist attack executed yesterday by an element affiliated with the Islamic State organization, which targeted the headquarters of the Internal Security Command in Syrian Badia, with the participation of a delegation from the International Coalition, and resulted in casualties and injuries. Talking about the operation, they say it was conducted in full coordination with the General Intelligence Agency and forces of the International Coalition, based on precise intelligence information, and resulted in the arrest of 5 suspected individuals who were immediately questioned. Now, I've not seen anything released from those investigations at this point. Turning to some responses here in the United States, not a lot quite yet. We have President Trump making some statements earlier today where he addressed a number of issues, honestly, that have happened in the last couple days. I'll play the full clip here, but he talks about the shooting last night at Brown University, the shooting yesterday in Australia, and then also the 3 U.S. soldiers killed in Syria. This is President Trump.
Just pay my respects to the people. Unfortunately, 2 are no longer with us. Brown University, 9 injured, and 2 are looking down on us right now from heaven. And likewise in Australia, as you know, that was a terrible attack, 11 dead, 29 badly wounded. And that was an anti-Semitic attack, obviously. And I just want to pay my respects to everybody. I must say in Syria also, we had an attack in Syria, and we had 3 great patriots terminated by bad people, and not the Syrian government. It was ISIS. Syrian government fought by our side. The new president fought by our side. But I just want to pay my respects to the families. We also had 3 injured, but 2 of them are already out of the hospital, and one's going to be okay. But we lost 3, so it was a rough day. But to Australia and the Prime Minister, to everybody that we know so well, we get along with so well, we have a great relationship. That's a terrible situation going on over there. Think of that. And Brown University, great school. Great, really one of the greatest schools anywhere in the world. Things can happen. So to the 9 injured, get well fast. And to the families of those 2 that are no longer with us, I pay my deepest regards and respects from the United States of America. Thank you very much. It's a very important thing to say. And we mean it. I can tell you in Syria, there will be a lot of damage done to the people that did it. They got the individual person, but there'll be big damage done.
Then turning over to the Pentagon, we have Sean Parnell, the Pentagon spokesperson, saying this was the announcement of the attack, saying today in Palmyra, so this was an announcement yesterday, 2 U.S. Army soldiers and 1 civilian U.S. interpreter were killed and 3 were wounded. The attack occurred as the soldiers were conducting a key leader engagement. Their mission was in support of ongoing counter-ISIS, counter-terrorism operations in the region. The soldiers' names, as well as identifying information about their units, are being withheld until 24 hours after the next of kin notification. The attack is currently under active investigation. Now, I mentioned there are some reporters on the ground there, or sources on the ground, adding additional information to what we know right now. I would take all of this with a grain of salt because it's very, very early still in this investigation. But what we're hearing through this one, Wael Assam, and I came across this through Aaron Zellin, an incredible source over on X, well, on his website, Jihadology as well. But Wael Assam kind of runs through what's known about the attacker at this point. He said this individual belonged to Islamic State as far back as 2014 and worked in security in Aleppo. They say he moved to Raqqa after its fall in 2017. After the fall of the regime, he moved to the desert in Idlib with another group of Islamic State members. He joined the general security in Idlib and was eventually assigned to Palmyra. They said he tried to reach the meeting room in the headquarters as he was carrying out the attack, but he clashed with American guards where at least 2 of the Americans and the translator were killed. They say afterwards, Syrian intelligence, along with coalition forces, arrested 6 Islamic State elements that also infiltrated general security, accused of coordinating the operation with the attacker. They say the other 6 were from the Islamic State cell that moved with him from the desert to the general security in Idlib, adding that there are likely hundreds similar to this that have infiltrated the Syrian general security. Now, unfortunately, the assessment that there are likely hundreds of insider threats across the Syrian government isn't shocking at all. I mean, I know we've had debates for a while about just how effective is Islamic State and where are they and how many are there. They've never gone away. They continue to be active in Syria. In fact, today, so a day after this attack that killed the 3 Americans, there was another attack in Idlib carried out against Syrian government forces. 4 to 6 killed in action are the initial assessments that I've seen, and this is alleged to have been another Islamic State attack. I mean, we have seen targeted raids carried out by the United States and our partner forces in Syria just in the last couple weeks. Pretty significant raids throughout the month of November, targeting and killing and sometimes capturing Islamic State fighters throughout Syria. So they're still there. And as the new Syrian government has come into power, it appears they've tried to plus up some of their security forces and at times have not been able to identify effectively all of the people that still hold some sort of affiliation or affinity to Islamic State, and it looks like that's likely what happened here. So in terms of what to watch for here going forward, of course, I would expect to see some sort of U.S. retaliatory strike, probably a pretty significant airstrike, because keep in mind, we have been going after Islamic State constantly. Like, that hasn't changed. I mean, the whole reason these soldiers were on the ground in the first place was part of ongoing counterterrorism, counter-Islamic State operations. In the month of November, we carried out a couple dozen airstrikes and then direct action raids, unilateral and joint with our Syrian partners. So, a single Hellfire missile is kind of the same as it's been for a while. I'd expect that number to increase in some sort of retaliatory strike, probably hitting multiple Islamic State locations across the country. And then also, I would expect that footage to be made public. We don't get a lot of publicly released strike footage out of CENTCOM. In this case, it probably will be announcing that we did carry out those retaliatory strikes. I would be surprised if we double down, put more boots on the ground or more assets in the region. This is a very complicated, Syria already is complicated. The insider threat on top of that is even more challenging to deal with. There's not much of an appetite here in the United States, I don't think, to really go all in and double or triple the boots on the ground to maybe help the Syrian government in their vetting process. We probably will see some additional calls in the U.S. government for the full withdrawal of U.S. forces. Just Syria's been out of the news for a while, and any time American forces are shot at, let alone killed, you can expect a pretty strong call by a number of members in Congress saying, what are we even doing there anymore? Let's get everybody out. On the Syrian side, it's going to be interesting to see how they react to this. Already, they were very, very quick in going after everyone that they believe could have been associated with this in any way, shape, or form. A lot of their credibility is on the line, right? This is a brand new government facing, one of their key partners in the United States is a key partner of Syria, just lost soldiers under their watch. So their reaction is going to be very interesting here. I would expect for them really to drop the hammer on these individuals and probably expand that investigation out even further. It's a lot and still pretty murky, again, as the investigation is ongoing. We'll do our best to keep you updated as more information comes out. That's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.